Hey guys, welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, I want to talk about the 3 best teams in the game currently when we look to pushing into Chapter 21, where you obviously need 3 teams. Now, if you're pre-Chapter 21, you can still take these teams into consideration, but this is just my view from my experience in the game. I could have some stuff wrong. Some people may have found some other stuff that works for them, but I wanted to cover a wide range of things. Now, we'll go through, I'm going to jump over to the tier list maker in a sec just to look at it a bit easier formatted to look at all the characters, but just so you know what teams I'm using, my main carries are going to be Hua and Ihua. Those are the 2 main carries that I use, and I recommend those to everyone. I think they're fantastic. Some people may have a hat, which you can basically just sub out the Ihua for that, or you can use hats as a carry in your 3rd team with another element or a sub-yellow team. But the main teams I look to are red team, yellow team, and then purple team as a core, but this one is very flexible on the 3rd team, but obviously you will require those 2 carries to have these teams built. Now, these are some formations I use. There's a bunch of other characters that I do use in these, but I want to jump over to the tier maker and show you over there because I feel like I can get it, I get a lot more things on screen a lot easier, just to try and show you this. So if we go over to this, I'll probably move my fat head over here so it's not in the way. We've got a bunch of other units. I'm not going to go through every unit in the game for this one. But basically, when we look at yellow team, your core of the yellow team, I'm just going to chuck a bunch of units down here for a minute. But your core of the yellow team is going to be either Hats or Ihua as a carry. Now, if you have them both built, I like doing the Ihua one personally. And then you're going to have Evan and Bomb. Now, what Bomb does is increase the attack of Ihua, so when she ults, she nukes. Now, this can change, and I have heard from people with maxed out Ihua, I've got 4 copies to go, that you sometimes don't even need this core to make her work because she can ult so quick and delete the enemy team. But I still think in general, if we're just talking yellow team, these 2 are a fantastic core for it because they just offer so much. Evan, the invincibility, and both offering energy as well, and then Bomb, the massive attack and defense increase. Then we have Vespa as the stall tank. Now, once again, you can drop Vespa out for, Data Zahad or for Data Mashni when you're in 2 teams fights and you don't need that 3rd stall tank. Besides that, this is what I like to have the core of. Then you can flex around with other units. Now, you don't have to have 5 characters of the same elements, the same color. It's not required. It's just the core synergies that work really well with these that actually make them happen. And once again, you can sub out Vespa for another element. You can put a different element in here. But in general, the other yellow units that I like taking in are these 2. Gray, so you can fear an enemy. Her, Goseng, or I think it is, so you can add an extra attack speed onto your main damage dealer. And that is going to be the pretty staple yellow team, and I feel like that's most people's first team. Really reliable, really strong, and that's pretty much the core. Now, when we look to the next team, which I like as the red team, I've got a couple other DPS options. That's just putting those 2 in there because if you have those SSR pluses highly duped, then you can use them as your carry DPS in this team. But the 2 main units in the red team are going to be Huarian and Bunny on a Box. She provides all red units with an extra attack, which is going to benefit Huarian. Huarian is an absolute monster of a carry unit / support unit / everything. She's just pretty crazy in my opinion. Now, often in this team, I also run it with a stall tank as well. And this one for me normally is going to be Data Zahad, but you can choose Data Mashni depending on your situation. I use Data Zahad because this is my stronger team and I want the longer stall tank in Data Mashni in my purple team, which is my weaker team. So you can run something like that. And then once you've got your stall tank in there, and Huarian sometimes doesn't even need a stall tank. She can solo teams depending on the deficit as well. So it depends on where you're at. But the one other red unit that I always like putting in is Yellowy, because she's basically like a better version of Goseng. She gives attack speed and crit at the start of the battle. I'm pretty sure with the 2 main stats she gives to your highest attack unit, which is going to be your Huarian as the carry. And that is pretty much the main core that I look to for red teams. And then you can sub in other units. Sometimes I use this dude as well, just as a tech option. Sometimes I go ahead and I slap in this guy as well because he can dart across and interrupt an enemy unit and give them a stun and stuff like that. But you can flex around around some different units in that in those final spots. But mainly when I go to build it, this is pretty stable for me, running these three with a stall tank, and then the last unit is often just a tech pick on my part. So that is that one. Then we jump into the purple team. Now the most common quote unquote carry I see in the purple team is the big Mashni with dupes. But if you don't have her, the next options we have is an Endorsi built. But the other thing you can do with this team is the purple core is just a really strong core. Kaseya as a tech unit, even at 1 copy to lock out some enemies, is going to be great. We got Karaka. You don't want him as your main tank, but you want him as a sub tank. So in this team, we probably want a stall tank in there, depending. Now, if you're fully built and you've got like a really well built Endorsi, which a lot of whales do, they are using the Endorsi as well. But you know, if we're looking at free to play, this team's normally going to have you know, the stall tank in the team. Now we've got Naray, and I'm just going to put Endorsi out because for free to play she's more of a cheese mechanic. For whales she's more of a stall mechanic. So I'm going to sub her out of this as well. And these are the units that we are looking at here. Now with these ones, Karaka, like I said, he doesn't want to be your main tank. He wants to start up the back, and he wants to go ahead and get his taunt, and then die, then use his ult to taunt again. Really fantastic. Then we have Rachel, who synergizes really well with a Karaka because he puts his orbs out. She spins them into the orbs. She's a really good support. Then we got Naray, who has basically really strong energy recovery for your main unit. She's also got defense break. She's got some survival as well. She's got a lot of things for her teammates. And then we got Kuhn, who's got a shield for his teammates. He's got stuns. He's got a banishment for one character that goes up to like 8 seconds. I believe maybe even 9 seconds. And he also provides the purple buff. Now, if you're not using a purple carry, you won't make use of the purple buff too much, but it's still something to consider. Now, something else you can do with this team, like I said, this team, you are lacking a carry in this formation that we've put here. Now, you can use Rachel as a carry, but at the moment, I think a lot of people's third carry is either going to be a Hats, or it's going to be maybe one of the SSR pluses duped up. And what you can do is, if you do have one of those SSR pluses duped up, you can sub them in. Like I said, Mashni is the main one that I do see on this team. But another thing you can do is, if you got dupes of Zahad, Zahad is a fantastic carry. You can literally just swap this up like this. And then you can put the Data Mashni as your stall tank in this team, and then you can bring Data Zahad to this team as your main damage dealer. Then you're getting some energy, you're getting him some shielding, you're getting some extra taunting so that he can survive longer. And this is just a really solid team core for a Data Zahad to be able to carry through, because you provide a lot to him in this team. And if he is your highest level unit, he has exclusive equipment investment, and he's at like 3 dupes or so, he's going to function really well with this type of support. Now, the one thing I want to mention is, if you are looking to use a Data Zahad or something like that, we do have this chick here who does provide the green buff. So she would be able to provide some green attack buff. So maybe you don't need the Karaka and you want to drop him, and you can put that in which case you might be wanting to drop the Rachel. But honestly, the Rachel with the Zahad ain't too bad, because he will share that damage, but you know, he will hit his thresholds, and then he would upgrade his ultimate and stuff like that. So it depends. It's a bit of a fiddly thing to play around with, but those are the sort of options. And then, you know, maybe the enemies are a bit tricky and you got an enemy in the back row you really got to lock out, you can slap that Kaseya in. So purple just have such a really good supportive core, and I'm really waiting for them to get a really strong carry to synergize, to make the whole thing come together, because I really do like purple as a core. Obviously yellow is crazy with the Evan bomb combo, just being able to be so functional with the energy regeneration into the attack buff, into the invincibility, and then just letting you carry destroy. But I just think purple will eventually be like my favorite team just because of that. Now, I wanted to mention as well, say you had a Hats build. So this is where I would look to something like this for your Hats team, because then once again, he can just sub into that. Now, Hats, you do also have other options. If you're doing a second yellow team, for instance, say this one, we go something like this. Then if we wanted to, we could make the second team, the second yellow team, if you got a Hats, more of a yellow focus where we use gray to get some control, and maybe try and keep a Shabisa two alive to get him the attack buff, and then even using the big coon dog here for his control factor. You can even do something like that. And as you can see, if you do have the hats built, you can sort of form a second yellow team to go ahead and play with, or you can just sub him into like this purple core, which just works really well in itself, especially with the synergies here. But then obviously if you need to group the entire enemy team up, you can use the Endorsey, and we have all those sorts of options. But in general, just to summarize what I was going through, I think the three main team cores that we're looking at in the game at the moment is yellow, red, and purple. I think blue and green will definitely get more viable. Obviously, we've got Zahad, who is a really good damage dealer if you get him duped up for the green team. But green and blue are struggling at the moment. Obviously, we had new red characters introduced, and without Huarian and Bunny on a box, red would be nowhere as well. So hopefully we get some of those blue and green units soon, and they can be more effective. But as the last character we had was Kaseya, it makes me lean into the idea that they may drop a couple more purple characters, and I'm really hoping for a good purple carry so that we can make use of these great purple supports that we've got. But that is my general summary on the three best teams in the game. Once again, coming from my perspective, if you have anything different, I am always open to conversation about it. I'm not saying I am always right, because I am not, but I just wanted to give you guys my insights so far into what I see as being the best three teams as you start pushing. I think the two best carries by far are Ihwa and Huarian, and at the moment on my account, I got Kaseya to 1 purple, but from now on, I'm just saving, waiting to see the next character, because at the moment, I think the next best carry is probably Hats, and anything else besides that, I don't think has the hyper carry capabilities that my free-to-play account really needs. So except unless I had 3 dupes of some of the SSR pluses, which would be so fantastic, but unfortunately I don't, so that's where I am at personally. But as always guys, thanks for watching, hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.